Hi everyone, my name is Kayla. Welcome back to Kay's Hidden Shelf, where we talk about books. Today we're going to be doing a book tag, specifically the Blockbuster book tag. I was tagged over at Andrew's Wizardly Reads by Andrew, and this was originally created by Ian the Reader and Drew's Book Reviews. I'll leave links to where you can find all of their channels down below, along with their videos of this book tag. So this tag has 15 questions and bonus questions. I did take a look at the questions and I couldn't really come up with answers for the bonus questions. I just couldn't think of anything that wouldn't be repeated in the answers from the first 15 questions. So I won't be doing the bonus questions, but let's dive into the 15 questions on this tag. The first question is Back to the Future. Name a book or series that has multiple timelines. For this, I chose Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. We get to see the main character jump between two different time frames in the book, how that impacts her throughout the situations, and honestly, it was probably one of my favorite portrayals so far of different timelines because it just hit really hard. I talk about this in one of my other videos. I'll leave a link where you can find that. And honestly, Anitha does a fantastic video on why you should read Kindred. I'll leave again a card above where you can find that. So yeah, Back to the Future, a series that had multiple timelines. Kindred is definitely my pick for this one. Question 2 is Lord of the Rings. Name a book or series with your favorite fellowship or friend group. This is a hard choice for me because I love the found family trope, the friendships that are built through that, and yeah, I end up reading a lot of books with that trope. Out of that, though, I do have to say the most enjoyable one that I've read is from Mistborn Arrow 1 by Brandon Sanderson. I just love how the friendships are portrayed and how we get to see it from Vin's perspective throughout the trilogy. Number 3 is Shrek. Name a book or series that ended up being better than it first appeared to be. For me, this is going to be the Queens of Wrenthia Trilogy by Sarah Beth Durst. I honestly wasn't expecting a whole lot from these books, and they really left more of an impact than I ever thought they would. I was anticipating them to be mostly fluff, and they were anything but. There were different dynamics of characters, their situations are often difficult, and there's a lot more struggle in it than I had anticipated. It was all just done in a way that was captivating and really enjoyable. So yeah, that one definitely is much better than I initially expected it to be. Number 4, with Titanic. Name a book or series with your favorite romance or a book that is super sad. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge romance fan. I don't mind if relationships are being portrayed in a book, but I just don't care for all of the fluffy, rose-colored lens romances that you get in books at times. That's just not for me, so I'm gonna pick a super sad book, and that will be The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. I was not expecting this to be as heart-wrenching as it was, and I don't think I read it at a time that made it any less impactful. That's all I'm gonna say. It was super sad, really enjoyable, and I do know that people sometimes struggle with the first half of that book or just overall wasn't their cup of tea. It was just super sad to me. I really felt for the characters or situations. So yeah, The Sword of Kaigen. Number 5 is E.T. Name a book or series with your favorite non-human character. This one might seem a little silly, and maybe it is, but I just found this character absolutely adorable, and that won my heart over right away, and that is Deb Crib, which is, I believe, how you pronounce their name, from the Winternight Trilogy by Catherine Arden. He's just this adorable little mushroom spirit, and he was cute and endearing the entire time, so he definitely became one of my favorite non-human characters. Number 6 is Harry Potter. Name a book or series that makes you feel nostalgic. For this one, I'm going to pick The Giver by Lois Lowry. I've mentioned this before on the channel, but the reason it makes me nostalgic is because it was the first book that taught me a book could be as deep and impactful as it was for me anyway. I had read so many little fairy tales and stories that just felt fluffy up until then. And once I read this book around grade 7 or 8, it made me realize how deep a story can go, how far these authors can take the characters and the situations that they go through. So it was the first book that really made me realize that there's a lot more to reading than I had initially expected. Book number 7 is Avatar. Name a book or series with an incredibly immersive setting. For me, this is going to be a book that I reread every year, and that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I know that this is probably one that most people wouldn't put in this category, but it is always one that I enjoy going back to. I love the world, the way the story is told, and it's just a world I always look forward to going back into every year. Number 8 is Toy Story. Name a book or series intended for younger audiences that you love. For me, this is going to be His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. I know this is written for younger audiences, but I have to say, I love it. It is so much more in depth than I was anticipating when I went into it, darker in a lot of ways, and it's just a series that I absolutely love. Number 9 is James Bond. Name a book or series that rests on the shoulders of its protagonist. My choice for this isn't a series that I finished, but I have read the first 2 out of 4, and that's going to be The Greatcoats. Now, this story does shoulder a lot of weight onto the protagonist. Everything seems to be on Falkio as he's going through this story, so definitely the Greatcoats series would be my choice for this. Number 10 is Star Wars. Name your favorite multi-generational story. I actually don't have an answer for this yet, and I couldn't think of one. Now, that is to say because a lot of these series I'm reading, I just haven't gotten to the next stage where the next generation's stories are being told. So I don't have one yet, but I will in future at some point. Number 11 is Rocky. Name a book or series with your favorite underdog. For me, hands down, this is Memories of Blood and Shadow by Aaron S. Jones. Absolutely fantastic story that is told from a young boy to a young man, Tavar Farwan, and he fits this category perfectly. He is the underdog and his story is told so well. Number 12 is Mission Impossible. Name your favorite heist story. I don't think I read a lot of heist stories, so I may have to use a duplicate here, being The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, I don't think I read a whole lot of other heist stories aside from that, so that's gonna have to be my answer for the time being. Number 13 is Pirates of the Caribbean. Name a book or series with a shady character that you couldn't help but love. For me, this is going to be Glocka from the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. He's kind of scary, calculating, calm. He's just the kind of guy that does not hold back. And yeah, he is kind of scary, but I loved his character. Number 14 is The Fast and the Furious. Name a book or series with a super fast-paced plot. Hands down, this is going to be Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. This is a self-published book and honestly could be a fantastic anime adaptation. The story really takes off, it progresses really quick, there's a lot of action, and this is a book I probably could have read in one sitting if I had the time to do it. It just kept my attention, I wanted to know what happened, and the story just flew by. It also paid off the more I read, which of course I loved. The last question here is 15 with Marvel DC Universes. Name a book or series with a huge payoff. For me, this is actually going to be Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I was not expecting a whole lot from it, especially when I was reading. It was just okay, but the payoff at the end was so worth it. It really does fit well in this category for me, and I loved this story overall as a result of that payoff. Now to tag a few people. I am a bit late doing this compared to when Andrew had originally tagged me, so I apologize if you guys have been tagged already, but I'm going to tag Read by Kyle, Anitha, and Patrick Ryan. I will leave their channels, or you can find them down below in the description. If you guys have already been tagged and done this video, I apologize in advance. If you are watching this and you would like to do this video, I'll leave the details down below. Consider yourself tagged. Thank you again, Andrew, for tagging me in this. I had a lot of fun with it, and honestly, I had a hard time picking some of these books. Thank you everyone for watching, for joining me in this book tag, and as always, take care of yourselves.